of you who've seen me before, you know, Tommy always has a joke. So, a joke about mobile and communities. Did you know that you can measure your age based on how you act with SMS text messaging? So, if you're one of those people, when you look at your phone and you're wondering, what is that crazy blinking envelope on the phone, and you don't know how to retrieve it, you're over 60 years old. If you know how to read the text message, but you simply will never text a message, when they send you a text message, you always call them back, then you are over 50. If you do, people send you text messages, you slowly scramble and you send the text message back, then you're in your 40s. If you know how to send text messages, you send them regularly, you're in your 30s. If you're capable of sending text messages without looking at the phone and actually have the phone behind your back, then you are in your 20s. But did you know that if you're a teenager, while you are carrying on, sorry, because the microphone I actually can't, send text messages with one phone, and at the same time you're sending other messages to your best friend with the other phone behind your back, then you are a teenager. So, you know me from my books and stories around mobile. It's very much my honor to be here today, and now I have lost in the process, where's the clicker? So let's see. Trying to figure out these different pockets, and so let's see how this works. Which button would be forward? Is that? No, how about that? No. Nothing's happening. So I wonder if this is on. Let's see. Well, love the technology, right? So let me go. The next slide is about Formula One anyway. So those of you who know me in the past, I was a big McLaren fan. Today you look at my colors, they're brightly red. So it is now Ferrari. I come from Finland. You know, it would be a national disgrace if I could possibly be for anyone else except for Kimi Räikkönen. But let me give you this for my prediction for the end of the season. We have 3 races left: Japan, China, and Brazil. If Kimi Räikkönen wins every race, if his partner Massa finishes second in every race, if Lewis Hamilton and Alonso finishes ahead of Lewis Hamilton in the 2 of the last 3 races, then Kimi becomes the winner. So that in that sense, you know, he still has a chance, and I believe passionately that Formula One can make it, but have to throw that in. So let's start talking about mobile and communities. Those of you who are from the internet side and the media side, the advertising side of this industry, then you will probably be a little bit confused what's happening with the strange media. And you might be at times confused on why is this industry moving so fast or so slow, why are we doing stupid things in stupid ways, and so forth. For you, I'd like to show you there's actually a very recent progression of how the mobile phone has evolved. And I call it the 8 C's of cell phones. I know, American term, we like to call it mobile phones, but just because the letter C, it made it easier rather than the 8 C's of mobile phones. So, the first C, the first mobile phone, 1979, NTT Docomo in Japan, we have always had communication. So communication was always part of the mobile phones. Whether it is voice, whether it's text messaging, whether it's BlackBerry, email, instant messaging, whatever, communication is fundamental to our phone. And for the first 20 years, the mobile phone remained only a communication device. Then, in 1990, yes, 1990, let's need to, 1998, the mobile phone gained consumption as the first new service application that it could feed a benefit that we have. By consumption, it became a media device. But notice the time, 1998. The mobile as a media device is less than 10 years old. The first content ever sold that was downloaded to a mobile was the ringing tone. So that's where it all started in Finland in 1998. In 1999, Docomo launched iMode in Japan. Today we have a $40 billion industry around mobile content and value-add services. But this was the start. The industry beyond voice and texting is only 9 years old. So give it some time to mature and discover its place of what works and what doesn't. So then came charging. So the ability of the mobile phone suddenly to become your bank, your credit card, moving money from one phone to another. A company in Philippines called Smart, mobile operator, introduced the first commercial consumer mobile commerce service. So as a payment mechanism, replacing your credit card, the mobile phone is only 8 years old. The fourth of the 8 C's is commercials, advertising. In 2000 in Finland, they had the first news services that were sponsored by advertising. They were based on SMS, simple, but it's taken a long time from 2000 for the mobile to become an advertising media and channel. As it is now, there's a lot of interest in this space. 2001, we got a very dramatic, weird evolution for the mobile phone. Japanese operator J-Phone released as a mass market proposition the camera phone. Suddenly the mobile phone became the creation device. Suddenly it totally again changed the way people are using the phone and what they can do with the phone. Every teenager today in the industrialized world, every teenager has a camera phone or has access to a camera phone. If I don't have the camera phone, my big brother, my big sister has a camera phone. Now we can take pictures of us in McDonald's. Now we can take the jump on our skateboard and take a film of that and so forth. In 2003 came communities. Mobile communities are 4 years old. First community service, mobile community service, SK Communications, Cyworld releasing its mobile version in 2003. So give this industry a little bit of time to mature. Don't be in panic if suddenly everyone is not doing the most logical thing. It's a very, very, very young industry. But that's only 6. What else is happening in mobile? We've all heard this one, but you didn't maybe think of it in this context. We are now merging with the fashion industry. Yes, the iPhone, but also Dolce & Gabbana, Benetton, Prada, etc., Samantha, Tabitha, whatever the handbag maker, etc. So fashion brands are coming into the mobile space. Another strange convergence, another interesting aspect that our phone has. And the latest, remote control. The fact that we can now lock and unlock our car, lock and unlock our home door. They're building apartment buildings in Japan and Korea already where the doors operate on mobile phone. So we are suddenly getting the remote control. They're expecting to have robots in every Korean home within 10 years. So now your remote control of your home robot. Of course, the remote control device is your mobile phone. So the 8 needs of the mobile phones are these 8. Notice that except for communication, everything else is less than 10 years old. And if you think about advanced, creative, cool new services, we can probably take something from all of these and merging. Let's take a little bit of commerce and a little bit of creation and a little bit of commercials, and we can build a new package. How about if we take fashion and we take advertising and we take communication and we build a new service around it? We have 8 different areas already, different big global industries that we can tap into, and we can build services for you. So just understand that from the history of the mobile phone. Even though it's a very powerful device today, almost all of that power was very recently discovered or deployed commercially. Okay, now, then I want to talk about our customer. So if we're getting very specific to mobile communities, what kind of customer will consume your content? When you deploy your service, where it's a social networking service, you deploy it on mobile, or your mobile service and you're adding a social networking community dimension to it, what kind of customer is the heavy user of that service, the one that you want to be loyal now, that you want to stay with you over the next 5, 10 years and bring you all the wonderful money that we can all retire as millionaires? There's a class for that customer, and it's called Generation C. So, let's examine the customer, young customer today. Take a 17-year-old teenager today. 17-year-old teenager, compared to us in the room, except for the few of you that might be under 20-year-olds, 17-year-olds, first of all, have a completely different relationship with information and knowledge. They are the first generation to grow up always knowing Google. They have always known information. They have had a totally different relationship with information than you and me. We went to school and we knew we have to go to university to get more knowledge, to understand, you know, a career in engineering, a career in marketing, whatever. Young people today, they know it's not knowledge, but information. They have a totally different relationship. They don't have to go to a library to research. They know all information is available on the internet, and all they need to do is use Google to find it. Secondly, I don't remember this by heart, participation. This is the first, a 17-year-old today. I was 12 years old when the first Big Brother house, first Pop Idol formats started running. They have always known participation on television. They expect participation everywhere. If you're a magazine publisher, if you're a video game publisher, if you're a music company, they expect you to offer them the chance to co-create, to participate, to give their voice, to give their vote, to give their opinion. Not previous generations. Most people, older people, tend to think that it's kind of stupid to go to Amazon and rate every book you've ever seen or every movie you've ever seen and give it 5 stars, 2 stars, 3 stars, etc. Young generation grew up with this ability, and they find great value in contributing and giving their opinion. Doesn't matter how much this star has already won in American Idol, I have to go and vote anyway because I need to give my vote. And until my vote is counted, the decision hasn't been made. Thirdly, this is the first generation that grew up where every one of their members is capable of creation at all times. Not every one of them has a camera phone, but every one of them has access to a camera phone. So if they have the cool project that they want to do the picture, the boy and the girl are, you know, engaged and we want to surprise them, or I want to do the special birthday gift to my friend, etc. Everyone has a camera phone. Everyone can participate in that way, become totally different, in a different way, creatively capable than older generations where you had to go ask your parents' permission to use the camera, etc. Fourth bullet point, sharing. The 17-year-old today, that is the first Napster generation, was 11 years old when Napster was at its peak. 17-year-old today. If you take a 17-year-old to the music store and you give them 50 euros, you can buy anything in the music store. Teenager, what will they buy? They will not walk to the records and buy a CD. They will walk to the DVDs and buy the movies. Why? Because every music is available on Kazaa anyway. They're not going to spend money buying CDs, they will buy DVDs. Different generation. They believe in mashing, they believe in participation, in co-creation. Fifth bullet point, 17-year-old today was 10 years old when the Tamagotchi came. Their first pet was not a real cat or a real dog. Their first pet was that stupid toy we had to keep alive, the Tamagotchi. That is why they are so happily involved in Second Life, in Counter-Strike, in World of Warcraft, in Habbo Hotel, being active in these virtual worlds because they've known this since they were kids. And last one of these is SMS texting. This is the text messaging generation. I made the joke earlier about texting without looking at the phone and with 2 phones at the same time and so forth. I'll talk a little bit more about that, but I want to point out of this slide, the first 5, there are lots of sociologists who will make claims and say this is the Google generation, or this is the Napster generation, or this is in some way that kind of a generation that is doing something radically different. I am arguing, and my co-author Alan Moore, we are arguing that this is a trivial change. The radical change for this generation is Generation C for community. It is the community generation. And what do I mean by that? Generation C is defined by SMS text messaging. They create an almost telepathic ability at all times to connect with their friends and to share thoughts with them through text messaging. If you constantly send text messages and you have your phone always with you, 6 out of 10 of us in this room sleep with the mobile phone physically in bed with us. Hands up, how many of you sleep with the phone in the bed with you? Look at each other. 6 out of 10 in this room sleep with the phone in bed with us. All teenagers do that. When you take them off the PlayStation, you take them off DVDs and they're no longer allowed to watch TV, they go back home to their bed, they're sending text messages long into the night. Catholic University of Leuven, study here in Belgium next door, verified that SMS is addictive and verified that teenagers regularly wake up to incoming text messages. If you want to wake up your child, don't set the alarm clock, send them a text message. But now, let's take a look a little bit more. What do I mean? Why is this relevant? Let me give you a car. Let's go and drive this wonderful new Porsche. And we are driving there, and we're driving over in Germany where you can drive without any speed limits, right, on the autobahns. And then we accidentally come here to the Dutch side, and we don't notice that actually we have speed limits now. And before we know it, all at once, we see the police car behind us. Now, we have the best car. We can definitely outrun the police car. Why don't we run away from him? We don't run away from him because we have a better car, because he is connected to every other police car. We know perfectly well, even if we manage to run away from him, then 2 kilometers later, there will be a couple of policemen waiting for us. Because policemen are permanently connected to every other policeman. It is an inherently superior way of managing a community. Look at this. Fire trucks, ambulances, Air Force, fighter pilots, airlines, KLM, all of the military, and the government. I mean, why did they have the hotline between Washington and Moscow to prevent World War III? Communication, the ability to be permanently connected. Hold that thought. Now think. Remember what I just said about Generation C. Young people have a near telepathic ability to connect with each other. So we go. Youth and SMS. Statistic from the UK, Carphone Warehouse study, almost half of teenagers admit to normally sending text messages to one person while they are talking to someone else. That is near telepathic ability to connect with their friends. But let me explain by example. This is what happens. You have a party. Couple of teenagers, 15-year-old boys, best friends are at a party. It's not a disco, it's not a loud place. You can understand using text messages if it's very loud. This is quiet, a quiet party. One boy stands here, his best friend stands here. The boy puts his hand in his pocket. A moment later, his best friend feels the pocket vibrating. Message came in, reads the message, responds, puts it back in his pocket. How is this possible? They are standing next to each other. They could talk, they don't. Why? Near telepathic ability. This boy is in love with that girl. Doesn't dare to admit. He asks his best friend's help. Do you think she likes me? Should I go talk to her? And of course his friend, near telepathic ability. Yes, 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 obviously she likes you. Go, she smiles. Go, 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 go. Okay, we can do this, which I don't admit to talk in public, but if I am very fluent at this technology and I'm permanently connected to my best friends, it becomes absolutely normal. I do it all the time. Sitting at the dinner table, mother is yelling at me, I start to cry, I'm not allowed to go out, and suddenly I start sending text messages with my phone underneath the table. So, how heavy? British teenagers, students, average 10% of British students average 100 text messages a day. In South Korea, 30% of Korean students average 100 text messages a day. If you are sending 100 text messages a day, that keypad is no problem. You don't need a mobile internet on a laptop. You don't need a QWERTY keyboard. You don't need the iPhone clever, user interface. You're totally second nature. If you're sending 100 text messages every day, you text much faster on a keypad than on a computer. In New Zealand, the high schools already allow for school essays and school exams to be written in SMS text messaging grammar. You have to select, you have to be consistent. Either you write Queen's English or you use SMS grammar, but you are allowed to do that. This is the future for us. Okay, now, Generation C. Please do not misunderstand me. The mobile phone is absolutely critical for this generation, and their connection via SMS is something that will never be severed. It will be permanent in their lives. It is addictive. But do not misunderstand me. I don't mean it is the only way. Of course, they will optimize, they will maximize. They will go on broadband when they're doing their multiplayer gaming and virtual worlds. They will chat, instant messaging, etc. They will seek many different ways to do different kind of communication. So don't misunderstand, I don't mean it is the only vehicle and the only tool that they have. But it is the preferred mechanism for our ideal customer segment. Now, then a question, who wants my book? So, my previous book, the Digital Career, I already gave out, but oh, a good many people would like to have this. Fine. Okay, I don't think I can cut it into that many places, so let's do this. I'm going to give the book to, where's my clicker? So, I'm going to give the book to the person who sends text message to this number first. Go. Go, 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 everyone! Who's first? Why are you waiting? Who's the fastest texter in this room? Go, 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 everyone? So, let's hear. Okay, let's see okay, now everyone please quiet. The ones who sent the message, turn on your phone ringer. We will call you. The person whose phone rings gets the book. So everyone who sent a message, turn your phone on, and then you will call. Raimo. So okay, go ahead, Raimo.
Yeah, I'm trying, but all these SMSs are coming in.
Yeah. I will autograph it to the winner, so make sure you get it later. But let's see who. Okay. Are you calling?
Yuri!
Okay, great. Yes, so congratulations, please. Yes. Okay, okay. Now, let's move on. So
please stop sending messages.
Yes, don't send any more messages, yes. He will get them all through the night because some networks keep sending them later if you don't get them immediately, so yes. I once did this in Slovenia. We had a room of about 1,200 people and I accidentally put the wrong number. So first of all, it didn't ring. Then the person who owns the phone looks at the screen and says, that's the wrong number. So someone got like 600-700 messages that day. So, sorry, Tommy, the telecoms expert. Yes, right. Okay, let's talk a little bit about mobile as it is becoming a new media. So in that, I have been talking about this now for a little while, talking about the mobile as the 7th mass media. I'm going to skip through most. You're going to get all these slides so you can study the parts that you find interesting that I'm going to skip. I'm going to take a quick summary. So the first 6 mass media, the first media is print. That's 500 years old. The first new mass media, the second mass media, was recordings. Originally music recordings, today video games, DVDs, and so forth. The third mass media, cinema. Fourth mass media, radio. Fifth mass media, television. And sixth mass media, the internet. Now the newest mass media, mobile, is the 7th. I'm going to just take a quick lesson when we transitioned from radio to television. When BBC was considering launching this this new kind of broadcast technology called visual radio, and they introduced this idea, they were looking at the radio content and radio formats. And there they listened that, well, actually, the big success on radio is news. So let's bring news onto television. So they issued guidelines of how does news work on television. Because BBC approached it from the BBC radio mindset, they were thinking that as we listen to the news and we get news about, you know, France or about Tomi, if some gave his book and whatever, then we can show a map of Amsterdam, we can show a picture of Tomi, but we are not allowed to show the picture of the person reading the news. We cannot have the anchorman on television reading the news. That is because in a radio mindset, we only listen to the radio, and therefore we don't even see the person as he tells the news, this is the news today from the BBC, right? This was a BBC radio mindset when they were considering a new mass media. Think about TV news today. Every single news channel, they invest a lot of time in their anchorman, having his hair perfect and his, you know, personality and always looking at the camera, reading through the teleprompter to connect with his audience. And every reporter that you ever find on TV news, this is Tomi Ahonen reporting from Amsterdam, you know, please, you know, just get my face on camera, at least 2 seconds of camera time. So, originally, a giant broadcast company like the BBC were looking at the existing media, radio, were considering the new media, television, and they made a fundamental mistake in misunderstanding what is powerful on the new media. Today, all news depends on connecting with the audience. Only when we get that emotion and we get the actual experience from the live people on TV can we invent new television formats like reality TV, like talk shows, like game shows. They don't work on radio because you cannot see the people. So my lesson here is that when we think about the transition from the 6th mass media to the 7th mass media, keep this lesson in mind, that the BBC totally messed it up initially when they were considering the transition from radio to television. Okay, so 6th mass media is the internet. I want to make 2 points about the internet. They're both on the bullet points in blue. So first of all, that the internet was the first new mass media that could actually do everything any of the previous 5 mass media could do. For example, in the cinema, we could not sell books, printed content. The format was not built to handle that. But on the internet, you can do TV, you can do print, you can do recordings, you can do radio, podcast, you can do TV, okay? So the internet became the first new mass media that was a threat to all legacy media. It doesn't mean that it has to be as good. A movie experience on the internet is not as good as it is on our plasma screen TV or at home, and is definitely not as good as it is in the cinema. But we can watch movies on the internet. So, first point is, it was able to cannibalize all of the legacy media. And secondly, very important point, the internet introduced 2 new concepts that were not possible on any media. The second bullet point there. The internet was the first truly interactive media, and the internet introduced search. Today you take any media content on the internet, on their home page, you will find the search button. And at the end of the story, they will ask for your comment, they will let you blog, they will give you the email address of the journalist or whatever in that sense. So, on the 6th mass media, first mass media that could do anything that the previous 5 could do, and yet the internet introduced 2 things that were not possible to do on any of the previous 5 mass media. Now consider this, and let's take a look at mobile as the 7th mass media. Mobile is the first mass media that can do everything the previous 6 mass media can do, including interactivity of the internet, including search of the internet. We can do television on mobile, we can do music on mobile, we can do magazines and books on mobile, we can do radio on mobile. Yes, we can watch movies on mobile. It might be a little bit cumbersome, but give the kids, you know, a fancy 3G phone and Mission Impossible movie, whatever, they'll watch it, no problem. Eventually they'll record over that memory disk and use it for something else, but they'll definitely watch it. Now, notice, first of all, that makes the mobile an inherent threat to all of the 6 previous mass media. Doesn't mean that they kill them off. The internet did not kill off print, television did not kill off radio, cinema did not kill off books. It doesn't mean that it will kill them off, but it is a threat to all of the previous mass media. And secondly, the second bullet point here, the mobile phone does not have 2 unique elements to it like the internet had. The mobile phone has 6 unique elements to it that no other mass media can replicate. The mobile phone is the only personal mass media. It is the only mobile is the only mass media that is always on deliberately. We can leave CNN on, always on at the hotel, but it's not meant to be on 24 hours a day. Mobile phone is the only always carried media. It is the only media which has a built-in payment mechanism. Hubba Hotel, collecting all this money through premium SMS. Internet service making its money off mobile. Mobile phone is the only media available at the point of creative impulse. If we suddenly do want to get user participation, only mobile is there always with us. You want to comment on that and Twitter, and you want to moblog up to your blog site, etc. Mobile phone is always with you. Any other media you have to consider, do I want to carry the laptop or take the iPod or the digital camera or whatever? And finally, sixth, for a media side of this room, mobile phone is by far the most accurate in measuring its audience. Not perfect, but by far the most accurate. AMF Ventures has measured that on television, you find out approximately 1% of the information of your audience. On the internet, you find out approximately 10% of your audience. But on mobile, you find out approximately 90% of your audience. Near perfect audience information, and by far better than any other medium. So, with that, this is the thing that you have to memorize. The 6 absolute competitive advantages. It is personal, it is always on, it is always carried, it has a built-in payment mechanism available at the point of creative impulse, and we have, it has the most accurate audience measurement. Okay? I'm going to have a quiz at the end of the day, a couple of beers, and then you have to all know this, right? Okay, now, I have a lot of more information. You can look at these later, so I'm going to skip them, but I've got tables showing when different media are consumed and which format works with which media and so forth. Okay, now, let me make a specific pause about one element about the mobile phone, and that is the idle screen. This is one of these things that we as an industry don't understand yet at all. The power of the idle screen. Think about affinity credit cards. So you're a fan of Ajax football, you have your Ajax, Visa card. No, I'm Feyenoord, so I've got no PSV credit card, etc., whatever it is. Now, obviously we can do that also on the mobile. But how many times do you pull out your credit card out of your wallet on any one day? Maybe 2 or 3 times a day. How many times do you look at your mobile phone every day? We don't go more than 20 minutes before looking at, has someone sent me a message again? Did I get a call? Etc. Why don't we take advantage of the idle screen? We can put a lot of content, a lot of services to make them unique to our customers and take advantage. It is a media which is always on. We can get them things that are urgent, that are breaking, and so forth. One example from Japan is iMedia. The concept of the CNN news ticker. So on the bottom of CNN News, BBC News, whatever, we get constantly the scrolling news of the latest news. Rather than that, we do it on the idle screen of the mobile phone. You decide what you are interested in. Tomi Ahonen is interested in Formula 1. So of course I want to have Formula 1 racing news, international business news, etc. I live in Hong Kong, I'd like to have some Hong Kong news, Finnish news, I'm originally from Finland, etc. You might be interested in totally different things. I want news about Britney Spears, and I want news about Brad Pitt and whatever, football and golf or whatever, and select those areas that you're interested in. But suddenly, your mobile phone gives continuously updates of what is happening in the area that you're interested in. Is it a success in Japan? 8 million subscribers pay $1 a day to consume news, not $1 a day, $1 a month to get the news feeds on their idle screen. If they click on it, then it costs more. Then you go to the web page or the video clip or the news or whatever. But to get the news headlines, this is the kind of direction we are going if we start to understand mobile as a mass media. Now, do not focus on the limitations. Yes, the screen is small. Yes, the keypad is small. That is totally irrelevant. We can build a future far superior to that. The movie screen, the television screen is tiny compared to the movie screen. There's not one movie that didn't make it the transition from the movie screen to the television screen. So how of the keypad? The lousy keypad, and should we have the Apple? Should we have the QWERTY? Should we use predictive text? Can I do text-to-voice conversion? How can I do this? This is my answer. Why doesn't the mobile phone read my mind? I would much rather not type at all. Well, last Mobile Monday you heard about this, so sorry, it's now no news, but obviously one of the answers is the 2D barcode. I just take my mobile phone, I paint, oops, not that screen, take that screen, aim it at the 2D barcode, and suddenly it spells the whole web address for me. I didn't need to do any typing at all. This is the future. This is the phone reading my mind. This is the way we go beyond the small keypad. The phone is far superior as a media platform than the internet. Far superior as a media platform than the internet. Far superior as an internet platform than, as a media platform than the internet. Okay. and will be bigger than television very soon as a total media platform. Anyway, don't copy, create magic. Don't try to bring in the headline news and squeeze it onto the small screen. Don't try to take the newspaper headline, the newspaper front page and squeeze it on the small screen. Let's invent magical services, which are something that were totally unbelievable, unexpected, seem like magic. Let me show you a piece of magic. This comes from Japan. So, camera phone dictionary. So, I need the other phone. So camera phone dictionary works so that I have a printed page. So let's take my book. I have a printed page in English. And it's very good if you speak English. But what if you only speak Japanese and you don't know how to read English? You take your mobile phone and it takes a picture of the page, sends it to the network, does the OCR conversion, and shows on the screen of the camera phone the same page written in Japanese. This is like a magnifying glass. This is like a magnifying glass, but it converts from one language to another. This is the future. This is what I mean magical. The first time you see that, you're like, oh my God, you know, we really have moved into science fiction. This is now Star Wars. This is really, you know, the universal translator, etc. So this is what I mean. Do not focus on the limitation of the phone, that it has a small screen, that it has a small keypad. We have so much power in this device, we can create things that are far beyond anything that you could do on a laptop, you could do on a DVD, you could do on digital TV, you could do on any of the other platforms. So as such, just as my first one to inspire you, think of these and build the magical. Let's take us into a future and do the kind of things that are not possible today. So then, a little bit on marketing and advertising. I'm a marketing man. So we looked at the 8 C's, and I mentioned that we have advertising. How about these statistics? In Japan today, more than half of all mobile phone users receive advertising. That's not an impressive number. That's not an impressive number. Look at this. 44% of Japanese mobile phone users actively click on the advertising they receive on their mobile phone. How much are we trying to avoid the advertising on television? TiVo passed it, skip past it, I don't want to receive the advertising, but 4 out of 10 Japanese will actively click on the advertising they receive on their mobile phone. In reality, 4 out of 10 Japanese like the advertising on mobile. There is something of value to them. It is truly personal. It is money. It is a coupon. It is a game. It is humor. It is funny. It is cool. This is what we need to do as an industry. This is what we have to achieve. But just consider, it can be done. It just takes much more creative effort than doing a billboard advertisement or doing something that we've been doing in the past. So then let me take you a little bit on the journey, how do we get there? And I want to show you going from interactive to engagement. Almost all of you are quite aware of the interactive side as we start to approach communities and we build in those interactive links. Send us your vote via SMS, or give me your ratings, or send us your picture messages and we will put them on the air, or paparazzi, if you see the football star walk by, take a picture and we'll put it in our newspaper, etc. Let's go from interactive to engagement. This is just a handy summary, essentially, for the whole day, from Alan Moore, my co-author. Nobody is as clever as everybody. If we get that power in there and we get the community get involved, we will truly do wonderful things. So let's take a look at this. Pop Idol. We know Pop Idol, American Idol, Deutschland sucht der Superstar, Nouvelle Star in France, China Idol, Singapore Idol, what have you. The Pop Idol, American Idol format, worldwide, to the summer of 2006, had received, 2006, right? Yeah, September of 2006, had 3.2 billion viewers, over 5 years, 3.2 billion viewers across the globe, who had generated 1.9 billion votes, mostly SMS, some other televoting, almost all SMS. Pop Idol in every country, when it runs, is usually the top watched show It is often the top watched show of all time. Better viewing than the Olympics, better viewing than Football World Cup. Norwegian Idol was the most watched show ever in Norway. Australian Idol was the most watched show ever in Australian television. So, if it is the most watched show, they get the biggest advertising money. Easily the biggest advertising money. And then think of how unfair is it. In addition to making the biggest money maker in all of broadcast TV around the world, they get 1.9 billion extra votes of premium SMS. That's another $600 million that Fremantle and the groups have earned, sharing with the operators and providers nonetheless. An extra windfall, extra profit, extra revenue of $600 million. And that was through September 2006. Now they're running ever more Pop Idol variations throughout the world. This was interactive. We only made our customer base interactive, the passive viewer at home watching TV and deciding, vote, send me the vote, and you can select who wins. Now let's take the step to engagement. How about if we tweak this format a little bit? You are watching the new run of Holland Idol, Dutch Idol, and suddenly you find out that you don't like anyone who is singing. Horrible people, horrible singing voices, but you know very well that your favorite sister has an absolutely wonderful singing voice. So you bring the mobile phone to your sister and say, you call this number and sing, and we will all come and vote for you. Okay? We will all vote for you. So in Finland they tried this. They did the run. Finland has a population of 5 million people. Only 1,700 people were... am I running up? Yeah, so, okay. So in Finland, only 1,700 people were brave enough to go and sing. Only 1,700 people sang. 150,000 people came, I actually have marked them. So 1,700 people sang, 150,000 people went to listen and vote. They voted 2 million times. Finland with a population of 5 million people. At the same time as Finnish Idol ran, Finnish Idol broke its own voting record on television. The television show broke its own voting record, but the People's Idol generated more votes than the television idol. This is the future. This is engagement. But notice what drove it. We have to have some brave people who are willing to engage. Not 150,000. This had 145,000, 148,000 who only interacted, participated. Only less than 2,000 actually engaged. But if we do this, we double the interactive behavior. This is engagement marketing. This is where we are going. So let me show you what they're doing in this space. Sugar Babes, the pop band in England, they're now asking their audience to send in dance moves. Use your camera phone, 3 girls, and do your dance move and then shoot the camera, send it to the band, they select the best moves and they perform them on stage. This is engagement marketing. It was not possible before. We could not take stick figures and draw them into a copybook and send, fan club, send in the best dance moves and, 2 steps this and then 2 steps this and then 2. But because we have camera phones, suddenly everyone can do this. This is the future. Here is where we are going. Now we need to teach the brand owners, the media owners, the TV broadcasters, the radio stations, newspapers, magazines, advertisers, how do we go there? They understand interactivity, they don't understand engagement, and we need to move that stage further and get into engagement. How do we do that? Actually quite simple. There's an easy tool, it's called the flower diagram. So, we combine 4 parts. Let me start with community and connectivity and culture. Connectivity and culture do not naturally meet. We do not go to KPN to get the pictures of Rembrandt. We don't go to the museum to find our connectivity, right? These do not naturally mix. But with new technology, we are finding ways to bring them together. Robbie Williams did a launch of his concert in Berlin. He had simulcast concerts in 24 European cities, and he did a further parallel broadcast on 3G mobile phones. He gave a massively larger audience who were able to participate in his live launch of his new album. The other two parts, we combine commerce and we combine community. These two do not naturally sit together. We do not go to the church to buy for milk. We do not go to the supermarket to connect with the Ajax football fan. So community and commerce do not naturally mix, but if we find the opportunity to build it together, something magical new can happen. So this is where we have now Second Life. Real businesses considering, should I buy an island on Second Life? How do I actually commercialize this space and how do I get into that space? So obviously we take these four together, we put them all together, we get a flower. In the middle of the flower is where your opportunity is. So try to build this, put your opportunity in the middle. When you have 2 or 3 of these parts, be creative to discover the other parts, and then you get a compelling proposition. One of the earliest to succeed on this, Oh My News, South Korea. Oh My News is the world's first citizen journalist newspaper. We all know Wikipedia. So Wikipedia is the encyclopedia online. This is the equivalent of what Wikipedia is, but for newspapers. Notice that even though it is citizen-generated, it is the 4th most trusted news source in South Korea. Part of it is that people see their own name in print. Part of it is because they're paid. We get high-quality content. They are well edited. They are the community comes in and participates. They vote, they rate, they give tips to the best writers, the best photographers, etc. On user-generated content, I just want to quote the very recent numbers from Any Question Answered in Britain. I don't know if you noticed. Any Question Answered, they have a bunch of real people next to internet and all kind of information sources who will answer any question. Most of the questions are the typical pub question of, you know, what was the final score of Ajax versus Feyenoord in 1972, you know, whatever. But they've got weird questions that come in. So does triangle-shaped bread taste better than square-shaped bread? Or I like the part that they talked about. British guy wrote in and asked, what should I do with my bird today? So Any Question Answer says, well, it depends. Different birds like different things. So if it's a dead bird, we suggest that you stick it in the oven and you burn it for, 2 hours at 325 degrees, to eat your turkey. If it is a caged bird, caged birds like you to whistle, like a parrot. But if it is your girlfriend, then they like that you actually, treat them with, champagne and a nice dinner. So it depends on what kind of a bird. Any question answered, 8 million answers, each one £1. So 8 million pounds just out of this kind of a different way of generating services around us. So let me show you about innovation ping pong. So we started with a concept. Someone thinks of something clever in one part of the world, and suddenly people from the other part of the world copy it, repeat, they do better, they do improvements, and so forth. We all know Hub Hotel. Hub Hotel has I think they have 76 million avatars already, 7 million active users at any point. They're in 30 different countries. Lots of cool innovation around Hub Hotel. So I was speaking in Korea in 2003. And there was this guy who came to talk to me afterwards. He's from SK Communications. And he said, I'm working on this thing called Cyworld, and we're developing a Cyworld mobile version. Do you think some of these things will work? And we talked about them. Before you know it, Cyworld looks very much like Hub Hotel. But they started then to invent new things beyond, and new things ever better and ever more. So we all know Hub Hotel. I'm not going to spend much time on Hub. Let me give you a couple of the latest twists that are happening in Cyworld. Look at the numbers here on my slide. 43% of all Koreans have created a profile. Think about Second Life. Second Life has 1.9 million users, 700,000 active users. But 43% of all Koreans have created a profile inside Cyworld. When 43% of the total population is there, every brand will be there. Coca-Cola is there, and Pepsi is there, and Sprite is there, Red Bull is there, Nike is there, Levi's is there, every brand is there. 30,000 businesses are active inside Cyworld. What do they do there? They offer digital versions of their content, branded content. You want to buy an Armani suit. You want to buy a Hugo Boss suit. There is a virtual version for that. 500,000 items of branded digital content inside Cyworld. So where is this future going? Is this possible? Is this viable? Of course it is. Also, Cyworld has become the biggest video uploading site, the second biggest music sales site, and so forth. One of the cute gimmicks, Cyworld, is selling digital music, is the welcoming song. If you come to my room, I want to welcome you because I want to be a good host. Maybe I don't quite have time to be there yet. It might take me a moment to finish my email or game and come there and chat with you and play with you. So of course I want to play a song for you. I'm a good host. Tomi Ahonen likes James Bond. You come into my room, I will play a James Bond song for you. So every time the song plays, I am charged 40 cents. Every time, it's like a jukebox. Every time the song plays, you pay 40 cents. The welcoming song. So just one of these variations that we can have in terms of delivering digital branded content completely legally, not stolen, use once, never again, charge every time, money is collected through the mobile phone. So then let's come back to Europe. I was showing the latest iteration of Cyworld at the London conference, and Mark Curtis, some of you know from his book Distraction, CEO of Flirtomatic, and Mark came afterwards to me and said, Tomi, some of these things that you talk about Cyworld, do you think they would work on my service? Now, Cyworld is a lot like Habbo Hotel. You have your own room, you have your own avatar, you have your gifts, you have things like that, you set your furniture, you do your clothing, your haircut to your avatar, etc. This is a flirting dating service. You don't have any room, you don't have your avatar. You might think completely incompatible. But I said, no, actually, I think many of these ideas could work very well. Today, Flirtomatic, half of its income comes from the personalization and the gifts that their users make. The other half of their income comes from advertising. Now, let me talk a little bit about the gifts. Holland, we might be interested in flowers. Flirtomatic sells 3.5 million flowers this year. They only have 80,000 users. They sell 3.5 million flowers. They charge 1.2 million euros for those flowers. Every flower costs 35 euro cents. They're perishable. You give it to the girl, it will not last forever. It will eventually, of course, go like any rose does, and then the boy has to give another one, and so forth. So these kind of things, when the girl knows that the rose has value, she appreciates it. So amazing kind of ecosystems that we can build around it. But not just the gifting, how about the branding? L'Oreal sponsored the big kiss. So they have this big kiss that you can give if you want to be really, really romantic with the guy or the girl. L'Oreal lip gloss became the sponsor of it. Now you can sponsor champagne, etc., things like that. Notice the impact. In Britain, Flirtomatic, which works on mobile and on web, they decided they're making so much money out of the advertising and out of the personalization, they stopped with the subscription completely this April. It is possible. We can copy from one side, we can learn from other things, and we can make these things incredibly powerful and fun. Now, is this real? We find a ratio of user-generated content to user-consumed content, and a rule of thumb is now appearing. On the internet, the rule of thumb is 1 to 1,000. So for every bit of content that is uploaded on YouTube, it is on average viewed 1,000 times. On the mobile, where every content is paid, we are now getting the ratio of roughly 1 to 100. We have several services which achieve the same ratio, that for every content uploaded, it is consumed roughly 100 times within a mobile community. We can make a lot of money out of that. We can actually let the people upload the original content for free, let their friends know, and have their friends come over there and look at it, and then make the money on the resulting traffic. Is there money in it? Remember, mobile communities are only 4 years old, launched in 2003. Mobile communities are worth $3.45 billion the end of last year. This year there will be over $5.5 billion. Communities on mobile are bigger than total communities on the internet by revenues. And that includes all of your multiplayer online gaming environments, including your World of Warcrafts and EverQuests and Counter-Strikes and so forth. $3.45 billion. Going from 0 to $3.45 billion in 4 years is a world record for the fastest industry ever. You guys in this room are building the fastest growing industry ever. I want you all guys to be very, very successful. Now, I have a couple of things in the back of my slides. I would like all of you, first let's take a show of hands. Anyone of you a member of Forum Oxford? I think we have a couple of members. Anyone? Yes? Okay, good. Forum Oxford was set up by a dozen leading authors and leading bloggers to be free forever, expert community on the future of mobile. Oxford University sponsors it. Less than 40% of our membership are from England. We have 72 countries around the world represented. All of you are free to join. I would like to see you there. Easy, forumoxford.com. First time when you sign up, it will ask for an enrollment key. For the enrollment key, you write in the word Forum Oxford, and you are in. Come over there. You will find really high-level discussion on where this industry is going. All of the convergence, the iPhone, you know, what Nokia doing with its OV, you know, all the technical jargon stuff, you know, you'll find all the experts, authors. Today, 16 of the 20 best bloggers on mobile are active inside Forum Oxford. Please join me there, all of you, and please tell of great successes of stories from the Netherlands and from your companies. Do celebrate the success with us. We want to know. In the back of my stuff, there's a lot more stuff. One thing I would advise all of you to read, the ones you haven't, who are not reading my blog, is Alan Moore's white paper on mobile as the seventh mass media. The part that I talked about mobile as the seventh mass media, Alan tells it much better than I ever could. It's a wonderful free white paper. Ask him at alanm@smlextralarge.com. He will, of course, mail it to you. But it really is a brilliant piece in explaining the mobile is a far superior mass media than the internet or television. And here are some of the early examples of how we can capitalize on that. If you like my slides, you do not have to send me the polite email to say, oh, Tomi, I saw you in Amsterdam and I'd like to use this one slide. Could you? You all can use these fully. You do not need to credit me. You do not need to ask me permission. Please spread the word. The next time you see me, I'll have 100 more for you. So in that sense, you know, thank you, but please, you all have full rights to use these slides and you do not need to credit me. Use them as your own. Show them to your boss how brilliant you were. You had a brilliant thought last night. I don't care. I like that, the story to spread. In the back, there's plenty more. I have things like the industry metrics, I have things like the digital maturity of countries and so forth. Take a look at those later when you can. The last story I want to end on, my favorite story today, is a converged service from Korea called Cartwriter. How many in this room have heard of Cartwriter? Anyone? Okay, good, very good. So, Cartwriter combines Formula One racing, well, why would Tomi love it? Plus cartoon logic. Cartoon logic. So this is like Tom and Jerry. This is like Bugs Bunny. This is like Asterix. The violence of cartoon logic combined with racing. So this is what it looks like, Cartwriter. And the amazing things in it, what happened. So as I'm racing, and the other guy is coming close to me, and he's getting closer, 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 closer. I take a banana peel, and I drop a banana peel. Now he comes with his car, and he goes, you know, bananas. Real cars don't fall on bananas, but cartoon logic, of course. So then he chases me, and he starts, you know, coming closer and closer. He shoots me with a rocket. Now, who has rockets in their car apart from James Bond? Nobody. But cartoon logic, of course you can shoot the other guy with rockets. And when the rockets come at me and I see the rockets are coming, I take a balloon. And all at once I climb up on the balloon and the rockets go right underneath. And then I run away again with my cartoon logic. We've all seen it, Tom and Jerry, you know, violence. Combine that with racing. Every one of us laughed at those cartoons when we were kids. Suddenly we have a video game, multiplayer game, where the logic It's not normal car driving logic, it's cartoon logic. Inherently fun, funny, silly, stupid. The whole game is free. How do they make money? Well, first of all, every time you want a banana peel, that costs you 20 cents. You want the rocket, that costs you 20 cents. You want the balloon, that costs you 30 cents. Then, of course, you have to have all the cool stuff. So you have to have your nice helmet. Tomi wants a red helmet to go with his Ferrari colors. You want your racing stripes, etc. You want the special, extra fast, extra cool car. Nothing costs more than $2 in this game. Anyone can play. Anyone can join. Now look at the numbers. 1 in 4 Korean total population has played this game. Multiplayer game, your mother, your father, your daughter, your son. There hasn't been anything yet on this planet that has been so universally appealing as a multiplayer environment as Kart Rider. It combines crazy cartoon logic with the fun of a racing game. Not everyone will love it, but an amazingly large part of the population will. And it has a beautiful money-making engine, making massive amounts of money for its owners. Not everyone pays because you can play for free, but this is the way that we can get a lot of money from many of our users. So, I started with a joke about SMS. I want to end with 4 thoughts. First of all, understand the customer of the future is Generation C. Generation C holds very different values from you and me. If you understand the soul of that customer, you will be successful in the future. When you are building community services, use the flower diagram, and you can now, when you seek the center of the flower, that is where you will find the successes. Brands advertising the future. Notice the success of SciWorld. All brands. Will Coca-Cola be there? Will Nike be there? Will Levi's be there in SciWorld, in Second Life, in Habbo Hotel? Of course they will. So just invite them in, help them get there, and so forth. And finally, Kart Rider, we can really make money out of something and make it fun for all. So, dank u wel.